I think so.
Y'all see us trying to figure out if the video was on? Okay. So, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Shavon and Neph. I am Shavon, the U Relationship Coach.
And I am Nephateria, the Warrior Princess.
Woo!
Happy Labor Day, y'all.
Happy Labor Day. So, all right, y'all. We have something that we want to talk about today. Oh, that hits home. And we were just talking about this, y'all. So we are going to be transparent today and talking about double standards.
Yeah. This is a little uncomfortable for me, so I'm just going to put that right out there. I definitely have a double standard concerning men and their emotions, feelings, or whatever. I have this expectation in my mind of how they're supposed to be and how they're supposed to respond to certain things. And yeah, you're not supposed to be all in your feelings like that. Like, get it together. So I think that in doing so and operating like that, we've created this double standard for men. We act like they don't have emotions.
And that is so true. And when we were talking about that today, it's like, where do we get that from? And for me, I have the same issue as, a man isn't supposed to have issues, from his past. He's not supposed to have to be going through anything emotionally. He should be strong, and it should just be me going through things emotionally. But where does that come from? And for me, I think it comes from movies, honestly. Mm-hmm. I think it comes from romantic movies, because I love romantic movies that I've seen. And it just makes me feel like, the man is coming in like the knight in shining armor. He doesn't have much issues, and the woman is the one that's broken down, and he just comes and saves the day and makes her feel better. They don't really go into the stuff that he may be dealing with from his past and the things that he may be struggling with just as a man, and how the woman just steps in to support him sometimes. But he's always seeming like the stronger one. And yes, men are strong, but it doesn't mean that they don't have emotions. But for some reason, I have developed these expectations that they're not. And if they do, then they should have it under control. Like, it shouldn't be something that they're struggling with on a day-to-day basis or anything. But that's so not true. They're just as human as we are. And I think, as we were talking about that today during lunch, it's like, man, we treat men like they're not human.
Mm-hmm. And we talked about how I know that you have some things that you're working through. Mm-hmm. She knows that I have some things that I'm working through, and we give allowance to each other for that. We give grace, we give room to grow and to get better. But when it comes to the men that are in our lives, no. You need to have it all together when you come to the table. You don't get that room to grow. You don't get that room to improve or just work on yourself. I really felt like you need to come to the table with all of your stuff together, even though I got some stuff that I'm working on. And that doesn't make sense. Ridiculous.
It really doesn't, because we talk about stuff all the time, mm-hmm. things that we're going through emotionally. And I'm just there listening to her and accepting of her, and just have no issues. We talk through it and we just keep moving on. And I'm not judging her for feeling that way or anything, know. And it's like, when it comes to men, like, why don't we offer them that same grace? Why don't I offer them that same grace? So it's just like, what? And for me, it's just the expectations, mm-hmm. and it's unrealistic expectations. And I know in our society, it talks about men just not expressing their emotions and just not being as emotional as we are. But it doesn't mean that they don't have things that they deal with on a daily basis. It doesn't mean that they don't have things from their past that they're still working through, and it doesn't mean that they're bad people just because they have stuff going on.
Right. They're human just like us.
They're human.
And why do we expect them to come to the table with everything together? Mm-hmm. Everything. It took a man that was in my life telling me essentially that I act like he doesn't have emotions. I had probably said something slick out the mouth, as I do sometimes, with no regard to how he would feel. And he just really called me on the carpet one day and said, Neph, you really act like I don't have emotions. Like, I hurt just like you hurt, and I feel the same things that you feel. And he actually recommended that I read a book, Bishop T.D. Jakes' book called He Emotions. And I had an attitude at that time. So I was like, I'm not reading your little stupid book. You're not supposed to be feeling that way. Just suck it up, man up, and you'll be all right. But if the tables had been reversed and he had said something to hurt me, I would have probably cried and just, you hurt my feelings and all that stuff. But I wouldn't give him the same grace that I would have expected from him.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so one of the things that Neph and I said that we are going to commit to doing is reading the book Emotions so that we can understand. I know she probably but I really think it would be beneficial, for us to see the other side, to see that men do cry, they do hurt, and sometimes they just don't express it. They may not say anything, and it may show up in different ways, but that doesn't mean that when they're at home by themselves, they're not thinking about it, or they're not processing it in their minds. They may not say it the way that we would just be able to say it to each other. And also, they don't have a lot of the groups that we have. Like, we go to all kind of support groups. We talk to each other. Girlfriends get together and really talk about our emotions, where all men aren't comfortable doing that. And then thinking about the structures. What structures are in place, probably other than counseling, that men can go to and get the support they need, and just the pride and whatever else that may be in the way of them just really sharing how they feel. So a lot of them keep it bottled up inside and just deal with it how they deal with it. But it doesn't mean that they don't have it and that we can just treat them any kind of way and think, oh, well, they'll be all right. He'll deal with it. He'll be fine. That's so unfair.
It really is. And my double standard even goes a little deeper. Like, I have a really close relationship with my father and my brother, and it's okay for them to express their emotions and share how they're feeling or whatever, but something shifts in my brain when it comes to the context of like an intimate relationship with another man. Like, you don't get to be that way. You're not supposed to operate that way. You need to be strong, and you, like she said from the movies, you need to be that knight in shining armor and coming in and saving me. I'm not. No, you're not supposed to be that way. But it's funny how in the family relationships it's okay, but then when in the other relationship it's not okay. It's like it's kind of seen, I think, as a sign of weakness, and society has made it that way.
It really has. So what would it be like if we were to treat men as human beings with emotions too?
I think that would shift a lot of relationships. I think it would, because they are human just like we're human. They have emotions, they have feelings, they have to process through their feelings just like we do. We need room to process, so do they. And we should respect them in that sense that they do have feelings. They're not robots. They're not built like, like they don't have emotions. It's crazy.
And something else that's coming up, a lot of times, and we talked about this too, there's almost been a divide between men and women because of the things that a lot of women have experienced from men. We've treated them like they're the enemy. Yeah. We've treated them like, they're somebody that we need to be protected from. Like, we can't give ourselves, like, it's so much that we do out of fear for being hurt by a man because of things that we may have experienced in the past in relationships. But, what about the part that we brought to the table? What about the part that we played in the situation? What about just maybe they were acting out of their feelings, not to justify any behaviors or anything like that, but what if we looked at it from a human perspective? We offer so much grace to our girlfriends, to women, but what about these guys that may just be hurting, and hurt people on both sides? We hurt them, they hurt us, and it's just a cycle that's going on. But what if we broke it by just seeing them as human and just exploring ourselves, figuring out where our expectations are coming from, and then just loving on them?
Right.
Yeah.
And we're not saying that you need to let your guard down and trust every man, and we're not saying that, but the challenge is to see them as humans, to see them through the eyes of God. They're people just like we're people. So I think a shift in relationships on all different levels could occur if we just change the way that we saw each other.
Absolutely. And that's at the end of the day. So our takeaway for us today is to look at how you view men and your expectations of them, and where is it coming from? Do you have a double standard? Do you treat them like they're robots and like they're not human and like they don't have emotions? Do you treat them like they should be like the men in the movies or in the romantic books? Where is that coming from? And what's going on with you? How do you treat them? How do you see them? What is your perception of men? Really be honest with yourself about that and challenge yourself to do something different, to be more open, to be more accepting, to just listen or just to be there, to shower love without expecting anything in return. Just challenge yourself to do that and see what happens.
All right. We hope y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Happy Labor Day.